is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
In the headlines, U.S. President Donald Trump is sending a stark warning to Beijing, threatening China with, quote, big problems over what he says are possible arms shipment to Iran. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is declaring a historic transformation in the Middle East, claiming the total degradation of Iran's nuclear and strategic capabilities. But as Netanyahu celebrated, Tehran released devastating new figures on the civilian cost of the 6-week campaign, with thousands reported dead or wounded. A political earthquake in Europe. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán has conceded defeat after 16 years in power as the opposition TISA party and its leader Peter Magyar swept to a commanding victory, now on course to secure a 2/3 supermajority in parliament. Filipinos will see a significant drop at the pump starting tomorrow. President Marcos Jr. has confirmed major oil rollbacks, but the president himself is tempering expectations, admitting the cut alone will not be enough. Advocates in Japan are taking their fight to the streets of Shinjuku. The Republic Defenders for Peace and Unity, along with the Filipino community in Japan, rallied outside the ICC, calling on Court President Tomoko Akane to approve the interim release of former President Rodrigo Duterte. Pakistan is calling on both Washington and Tehran to honor their ceasefire commitments after marathon negotiations in Islamabad ended without a final deal. Iran, for its part, is citing what is called, quote, an atmosphere of distrust as the fragile peace hangs in the balance. In sports, Australian teen sensation Gout has delivered a stunning performance, winning the national 200-meter title with a world under-20 record time of 19.67 seconds, faster than Usain Bolt ever ran at the same age. And history of the Philippine music, the girl group Bini has become the first Filipino act ever to perform at Coachella, in earning massive attention online and topping trending topics on X following their landmark appearance. I'm Andrea Santos. Newsline World starts now. First in our news, prospects for an end to the Middle East energy and military crisis have deemed after negotiations between the United States and Iran in Islamabad concluded without an agreement. More on this from Virgil Parba.
Following 21 hours of intensive discussion, the Islamabad summit ended on Sunday with no signed deal or clear timeline for future talks. The deadlock immediately manifested in the Strait of Hormuz, where the regional power balance remains on a knife edge. Iranian state television aired footage today showing several massive oil tankers stalled in the waterway. According to the ISNA news agency, the Liberia-flagged supertanker Serefos and 2 Chinese-flagged tankers Cosper Lake and Hirong Hai, each carrying up to 2 million barrels of crude, were identified near Lark Island. The failure of the talks was underscored by defiant rhetoric from Tehran. Ali Akbar Velayati, a senior advisor to Iran's supreme leader, declared that the key to the Strait of Hormuz remains firmly in Iranian hands. Meanwhile, Iranian Parliamentary Speaker Mohammad Bagher Khalibaf blamed Washington for the collapse, stating the U.S. failed to earn the confidence of the Iranian delegation despite their forward-looking initiatives. The diplomatic breakdown sent ripples to Washington, where Vice President J.D. Vance remarked that the outcome was bad news for Iran, signaling that the U.S. is prepared to maintain its current military posture. The collapse comes midway through a conditional 2-week ceasefire that was explicitly tied to the reopening of the shipping lane, with tankers once again stalled and no diplomatic path forward. The risk of a return to active hostilities looms large as the 14-day clock continues to tick. This has been Virgil Parba, your global citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
In related news, Pakistani Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar has urged both Washington and Tehran to honor their ceasefire commitments, seeking to salvage a fragile peace after marathon negotiations in Islamabad ended without a final deal. More updates from Loren Santos.
Following 21 hours of intense mediation, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar expressed gratitude to both the United States and Iran for participating in the Islamabad summit. Despite the lack of a formal agreement, Dar emphasized the critical role of the ceasefire initiated by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and the active participation of Army Chief Asim Munir in the dialogue. Dar's appeal for a positive spirit comes at a precarious moment as both sides depart the capital with their respective military postures largely unchanged. Tehran's delegation highlighted the complexity of the issues at stake, particularly the status of the Strait of Hormuz and the fallout from recent U.S.-Israeli strikes. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Bakai maintained that while diplomacy is a tool for safeguarding national interests, the deep-seated suspicion between the two nations made a breakthrough in one sitting nearly impossible. In contrast, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance left the summit with a blunt assessment, labeling the stalemate bad news for Iran. While Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has reaffirmed that defensive operations will remain halted if attacks against Iran cease. The failure to secure a durable peace in Islamabad leaves the region dependent on a temporary truce that is rapidly nearing its expiration. As the mediators continue to push for continued engagement, the international community remains watchful, with the Strait of Hormuz still a primary point of contention and the two-week ceasefire clock ticking. The key to peace remains as elusive as ever. For Newsline World, Loren Santos, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has declared a historic transformation in the Middle East, claiming the total degradation of Iran's strategic capabilities, even as Tehran releases devastating figures on the civilian cost of the 6-week campaign. The updates from Paul Montibon.
In a major televised address on Saturday, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asserted that Israel, in unprecedented coordination with the United States, has crushed Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile programs. Netanyahu claimed that credible intelligence showed that late Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei had attempted to move nuclear and missile development deep beneath a mountain to evade B-2 bomber strikes, an effort he says was ultimately thwarted. The Prime Minister detailed the systematic elimination of Iran's top leadership and the destruction of its largest gas production facilities, stating that Iran is no longer the same Iran.
לקטוש את תוכנית הגרעין, לקטוש את תוכנית הטילים, והיה לנו גם יעד נוסף, לקטוש את המשטר באיראן, להחליש אותו לרמה הנמוכה ביותר, החלשה ביותר שלו, מאז הקמת המשטר לפני 47 שנים. איראן היא כבר לא אותה איראן, וגם ישראל היא לא אותה ישראל. הם שאיימו להשמיד אותנו, נלחמים עכשיו על ההישרדות של עצמם.
While Netanyahu celebrated historic accomplishments, the human cost of the conflict is coming into sharp focus. Iran's head of emergency medical services, Jafar Miadfar, reported on Sunday that thousands of civilians who had no role in military affairs have been killed or injured. The figures include over 2,100 victims under the age of 18 and nearly 5,000 women. The most tragic incident cited was at a school in Minab, where hundreds were reported martyred. Miadfar also highlighted the crippling impact on Iran's medical infrastructure, noting the destruction of 47 ambulances and 2 air ambulance helicopters.
به صلاح دچار حادثه شدن و تعداد شهدامون هم به 26 نفر رسیده که از این تعداد 78 نفر همکاران خودم بودن که به هر حال در کف خیابون بودن، در کف میدان بودن.
The divergent narratives come as peace talks in Islamabad have stalled without a deal, leaving the regional ceasefire on a knife edge. Netanyahu confirmed that while the campaign against the octopus has reached historic milestones, operations in Lebanon and Gaza continue. He noted that Lebanon has repeatedly approached Israel for direct peace talks, a move he says is conditional on the total disarmament of Hezbollah. As the two-week truce remains fragile, the transition from Operation Rising Lion to sustainable peace appears increasingly complicated by the high civilian toll and the lack of diplomatic breakthrough. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, reporting for Newsline World, this has been Paul Montebon, SMNA News.
U.S. President Donald Trump signaled a shift in global energy trade as Gulf-based tankers are reportedly being redirected to carry American oil and gas, while claiming military success against Iran and warning China of big problems over possible arms shipment to Tehran. Franco Baranda for the details.
Speaking on the development, Trump described the vessels as big, beautiful tankers, as carriers previously operating in the Gulf region are repositioned to support growing U.S. hydrocarbon exports.
And one other thing that's happening is that boats are sailing up and heading out to our country. Big, beautiful tankers, and we're loading them up with oil and gas and everything else, and it's a pretty beautiful thing to see.
Analysts say the shift reflects changing market dynamics amid geopolitical tensions and supply disruptions, potentially strengthening the United States' position as a major global energy supplier. Meanwhile, Trump claimed U.S. forces had weakened key elements of Iran's naval and air capabilities and were working to secure vital shipping routes.
We've defeated them militarily. They've dropped a couple of water mines, you call them water mines, in the boat. We've defeated all of their water boats too. Their Navy has gone 158 ships. They have 28 water droppers, mine droppers they call them. All of them are sunk. They probably have a couple of mines in the water. We have mine sweepers out there. We're sweeping the strait.
He also downplayed the importance of ongoing talks with Iran, suggesting a deal is not essential.
Whether we make a deal or not makes no difference to me. And the reason is because we've won.
At the same time, Trump warned China against supplying military equipment to Tehran following intelligence reports of possible air defense shipments.
Well, if China does that, China's going to have big problems, okay?
Analysts caution that any confirmed arms transfer could escalate tensions between Washington and Beijing and complicate diplomatic efforts in the Middle East. The situation remains fluid, with global powers closely monitoring developments that could impact regional stability and international trade flows. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Franco Baranda, SMNI News.
Up next, a political earthquake in Europe. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has conceded defeat after 16 years in power, as the opposition TISA party and its leader Peter Magyar swept to a commanding victory, now on course to secure a two-thirds supermajority in parliament. And advocates in Japan are taking their fight to the streets of Shinjuku. The Republic Defenders of Peace and Unity, along with the Filipino community in Japan, rallied outside the ICC, calling on court President Tomoko Akane to approve the interim release of former President Rodrigo Duterte. More news when Newsline World returns.
Pagod? Nanunuyo ang lalamunan? O baka naman nahihirapan kang mag-focus sa ginagawa? Kapartner, baka naman dehydrated ka na. Ang katawan natin ay binubuo ng halos 60% hanggang 70% na tubig. Kung walang sapat na hydration, parang sasakyang walang gasolina ang ating katawan, hindi makakaarangkada. Bakit nga ba mahalaga ang tamang hydration? Hindi lamang ito pamatid uhaw dahil nakatutulong rin ito sa pagdaloy ng sustansya sa katawan, pagpapanatili ng tamang body temperature at pagpapakinis ng kutis. Kaya't huwag nang hintayin pang mauhaw ka bago uminom. Ang pagkauhaw ay babala na ng iyong katawan na ikaw ay dehydrated na. Ang standard na payo ng mga doktor ay 8 baso ng tubig ang dapat inumin bawat araw. Pero tandaan, depende ito sa iyong timbang, edad at kung gaano ka ka-active. Samantala, narito ang ilang gabay para manatiling hydrated. Simula ng araw sa isang basong tubig. Magbaon ng sariling tumbler para siguradong may maiinom saan man magpunta. At hanggat maaari, piliin ang tubig kaysa mga matatamis na inumin. Kaya mga kapartner, manatiling hydrated para makaiwas sa mas malalang sakit at upang maalagaan ang iyong kalusugan.
Isang pindot lang, pwede kang maka-jackpot. Mukhang masaya at easy money lang. Sa murang halaga, pwede ka na tumaya sa online gambling at e-casino apps. Mayroong sabong, slot machines, mahjong, poker at iba pa. Kailangan mo lang ng smartphone, e-wallet at internet. Pero ang aliw na ito, unti-unting nagiging bitag para sa mga Pilipino. Lalo na kung ang paborito mong artista o influencer ang mukha ng app. Mas madaling makaengganyo, diba? Parang safe naman kasi may kilalang mukha. Pero sa likod ng ngiti, sugal pa rin ang itinutulak. At syempre, mas madali ring itago ang pagkalulong sa bisyong ito. Walang pisikal na kasino o pasugalan, walang kaharap, walang accountability, kaya't mas lumalala ang adiksyon. Dagdag pa rito, maraming online gambling apps at walang regulasyon. Sa likod ng mga makukulay na interface at papremyo, nakatago ang problemang bumabalot ngayon sa bansa, ang pagkalulong ng maraming Pilipino sa online gambling. Pwede maglaro kahit saan, kahit kailan, kahit sino, bata man o matanda, pwedeng malulong. Ayon sa mga eksperto, ang pagkakalulong sa online gambling ay nagdudulot ng matinding stress at anxiety, pagkakabaon sa utang, pagkawasak ng pamilya, pagkawala ng tiwala sa sarili. At tulad ng ibang bisyo, may mga senyales ito tulad ng hindi makapagpigil kahit walang pera, palihim na tumataya, pagpapabaya sa trabaho, pamilya o sarili. Sa bawat taya, may mga taong tunay na kumikita, mga malalaking negosyante at investors na negosyo ang bisyo ng masa. Para sa kanila, perang pumapasok lang ito. Pero para sa ordinaryong Pilipino, kabuhayan at relasyon ang nauubos. At ang masakit, tila matagal itong nahayaan. Hindi ito naging prioridad ng mga nakaupo sa taas hanggang sa sobrang lumala at halos naapektuhan na ang buong komunidad. Ngayon, sa dami ng nalulong at sa laki ng pinsalang naidulot, sa kapalalong umugong ang mga panukalang batas para higpitan ng online gambling, gaya ng pagbabawal sa paggamit ng e-wallets para tumaya, pagtaas ng minimum bet, mas mahigpit na identity verification, pag-block ng mga illegal na gambling sites, at bawasan o ipagbawal ang mga ads na target ang kabataan. Maaari itong magmukhang laro lang, pero sa katotohanan, isa itong sugal sa kinabukasan. Ang kita na dapat sa mga pangunahing pangangailangan o ipon na uubos sa sugal. At sa mundo ng online gambling, mas madali kang matalo kaysa manalo. Huwag hayaang sugal ang magdikta sa iyong buhay. Isang paalala mula sa SMNI.
And we're back. In the United States, several anti-ICE protesters have been arrested in downtown Los Angeles after blocking traffic and clashing with police outside the Federal Detention Center. Demonstrators converged near the Metropolitan Detention Center in downtown Los Angeles, with crowds spilling onto surrounding streets and disrupting traffic flow in the area. Authorities eventually declared the gathering an unlawful assembly. Police in riot gear moved in to disperse the crowd, issuing warnings to clear the roadway before making arrests when a number of protesters refused to comply. Several individuals were taken into custody for failing to disperse as tensions between demonstrators and law enforcement escalated into a standoff. The Los Angeles incident is part of a broader wave of demonstrations across the United States over immigration enforcement, protests that show no signs of letting up as the debate over ICE operations and federal detention policy intensifies nationwide. Meanwhile, the Republic Defenders for Peace and Unity, along with the Filipino community in Japan, held a protest in Shinjuku, calling for the interim release of former President Rodrigo Duterte. Guy Saito reports from Japan.
The Filipino community in Japan called on the International Criminal Court to approve the interim release of former President Rodrigo Duterte. They timed the call with a visit to Japan of ICC President Judge Tomoko Akane. This was the call of Filipinos in Shinjuku in support of FPRD. They staged the protest upon receiving the news of ICC President Akane's return to Japan. For Dexter, an OFW, the ICC misinterpreted the war on drugs of the former Philippine president. He also questioned the allegations of human rights violations under the Duterte administration.
Ang pinaglalaban niya ay pangkaramihan para maiwasan at para ma-preserve yung taong bayan ng tayong mga Pilipino, kasi nalugmok na tayo sa sa droga, di ba? Almost ilang milyon yun. Kung walang Duterte na dumaan sa buhay natin, paano na lang? Ano mangyayari natin sa bansang Pilipinas?
Meanwhile, a half Filipina named Cynthia happened to pass by the Filipino community rally. She decided to join and asserted that the International Criminal Court has no authority over the Philippine justice system.
The International Court has no business meddling in our local affairs, particularly because they don't know the exact nature of why there was this drug war. It was so prevalent that there was no soft approach to solving the problem.
Another Filipina, Lei, also called on ICC President Akane to grant the interim release request of the former president.
Ang dapat po malaman ni Judge Akane-san na si PRD po talaga tunay na makabayan po, at ang kanyang adhikain para lang gumanda ang Pilipinas. Hindi po katulad ngayon. Wala na po ang Pilipinas. Lubog na po. Kawawa po ang mga Pilipino. Kaya sana po marinig po ni Akane-san.
The RDPU, or Republic Defenders for Peace and Unity, led the picket protest.
Kaming mga Pilipino na nandito sa Japan ay patuloy na sumusuporta at nagpapakita ng pagmamahal kay Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Hindi po kami titigil hanggang sa dulo.
The ICC Appeals Chamber is set to take up the appeal of FPRD's camp on the issue of jurisdiction in the case. His legal team has earlier argued that the ICC has no jurisdiction over the alleged crimes against humanity related to the war on drugs, since the Philippines is no longer covered by the Rome Statute. The Rome Statute is the treaty that established the ICC and serves as the basis of its jurisdiction. The Filipino community in Japan vowed that they will not stop calling for FPRD to be brought back to the Philippines, and that they will continue to conduct similar activities in support of the former president. Reporting from Shinjuku, this is Guy Saito, SMNI News, Japan.
Filipinos will see a significant drop in fuel prices starting tomorrow, with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. confirming rollbacks of more than 20 pesos per liter for diesel, over 4 pesos for gasoline, and more than 8 pesos for kerosene. But the president himself is tempering expectation, admitting the cut alone will not be enough. President Catarong has the details.
Oil prices will be reduced starting this Tuesday, April 14. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. confirmed the price cuts, more than 20 pesos per liter for diesel, over 4 pesos for gasoline, and more than 8 pesos for kerosene. According to the president, the reduction in oil prices is part of the government's broader efforts to ease the impact of rising crude oil costs. Marcos also said that the rollback will be a big help to drivers, commuters, and Filipino families affected by high fuel prices. However, the president acknowledged that the rollback is still not sufficient.
Hindi pa ito sapat, kaya tuloy-tuloy naman ang ginagawa ng inyong pamahalaan para maibsan ang epekto nito sa inyong pang-araw-araw na buhay.
Beyond the rollback, Marcos said additional measures and assistance programs are in the pipeline, targeting transportation costs, food prices, and overall household expenses across the country. Marcos also assured that the government will not neglect any Filipino amid the current economic challenges, and that efforts will continue to achieve a more comfortable life for every family. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Creseline Catarong, SMNI News.
When we return in sports, Australian teen sensation Gout Gout has delivered a stunning performance, winning the national 200-meter title with a world under-20 record time of 19.67 seconds, faster than Usain Bolt ever ran at the same age. And history for Philippine music. The girl group Beanie has become the first Filipino act ever to perform at Coachella, earning massive attention online and topping trending topics on X following their landmark appearance. More news after the break.
Sa panahon ng ingay, sa panahon ng maraming tanong, panahon na para marinig ang katotohanan.
Sa totoo lang, ano ba talaga ang nangyayari sa ating bansa?
At sa totoo lang, handa ba tayong harapin ang katotohanan?
Sa totoo lang,
dito walang iwasan,
walang paligoy-ligoy,
diretsong usapan.
Sa totoo lang.
Sa SMNI.
A political earthquake in Hungary. Veteran Prime Minister Viktor Orbán has conceded defeat after 16 years in power. As the opposition sees a pardon, its leader Peter Magyar swept to a commanding victory, on course to secure a two-thirds supermajority in parliament. Joy Tabanal has the story.
With 98% of votes counted, Hungary's National Election Office confirmed that Magyar's center-right TISA party had won a decisive parliamentary majority, enough to give the incoming government sweeping legislative power to reverse many of the controversial changes enacted under Orbán's long rule. Orbán, who had dominated Hungarian politics since 2010, acknowledged the result Sunday, calling it painful but clear.
A választási eredmény számunkra fájdalmas, de egyértelmű, a kormányzás felelősségét és lehetőségét nem nekünk adták. A győztes pártnak gratuláltam. Nektek, önöknek köszönöm a rengeteg munkát.
For Magyar, the win marks the culmination of a rapid political rise, and he wasted no time signaling a sharp change in direction. Hundreds of Hungarians took to the streets in Budapest to celebrate Magyar's win. The TISA leader pledged to rebuild Hungary's frayed relationship with the European Union and NATO, both of which had grown increasingly strained under Orbán's nationalist, pro-Russian foreign policy stance.
Újjáépítjük és erős alapokra helyezzük
és lehetőség szerint ki is bővítjük a visegrádi négyek együttműködését.
The ripple effects of Magyar's victory are already being felt beyond Hungary's borders across Europe. The result was welcomed with relief. Orbán had long been a decisive and obstructionist presence within the EU, frequently blocking bloc-wide decisions on Ukraine aid and rule of law measures. But the outcome is a setback for US President Donald Trump, who had publicly endorsed Orbán during the campaign, backing a leader whose defeat now leaves Washington's nationalist allies in Europe further isolated. Hungary now enters a transition period as Magyar prepares to form a government. The scale of the TISA party's mandate gives him the tools to move quickly. This has been Joy Demanel, your global citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
Developers are fine-tuning their strategies following a robotic test run in China as teams prepare for an upcoming major competition. Daniela Paulite tells us more.
Engineers were seen adjusting and replacing robot batteries during the trial as part of efforts to improve performance and reliability.
We'll refine our pace and strategy based on these results. The industry-wide advancement in both speed and completion rate this year is remarkable.
Officials say the test successfully met expectations, while also revealing areas that need improvement before the main event.
The test met expectations and laid a strong groundwork. The glitches exposed, like robot faults and safety snags, will be ironed out before the main race.
Organizers say continued refinements will be key as the industry pushes forward with rapid advancements in robotics technology. Reporting for Newsline World, Daniela Paulita, Azimani News.
A heartwarming moment unfolded as passengers aboard a Southwest Airlines flight joined forces to celebrate the incredible bravery of 2-year-old who just 1 year ago was diagnosed with stage 4 neuroblastoma, a rare and aggressive cancer. Cruz, who recently completed his treatment and is now carefree. Joy Tabanao has the full story.
We can have your intern in a second. Today we do have a very special passenger on board. We have a young hero named Cruz, who is 2 years old. He has been battling a very rare form of cancer. He is now officially cancer-free. You're so honored to be able to fly you home. We're so very proud of you. You're very strong and brave.
In a moment that captured the hearts of everyone on board, Cruz's parents, Elisa and Miguel, had the emotional support of dozens of strangers who rallied together to celebrate his remarkable victory over cancer. For 4 long months, the family had been making the difficult journey back and forth from their home in California to New York City, where Cruz underwent intensive treatment in hopes of beating the rare and aggressive form of cancer. Neuroblastoma, a cancer that commonly affects children, can be particularly devastating when diagnosed at such an advanced stage. But Cruz's fight against the disease was nothing short of heroic. His journey, filled with ups and downs, finally culminated in the good news. Cruz was officially cancer-free. On the flight, passengers participated in a unique and touching gesture of support. With the plane cruising above 30,000 feet, many passengers wrote heartfelt letters, sharing words of encouragement and congratulating Cruz for his bravery. The overwhelming outpouring of messages from strangers created an atmosphere of hope, positivity, and gratitude that made the moment unforgettable. The family's emotional journey was also bolstered by the kindness of the Southwest Airlines staff, who made sure Cruz's experience was unforgettable. In addition to the letters, the crew took part in a small celebration where they announced Cruz's victory to the entire cabin, and passengers cheered with joy, applauding the brave young boy and his parents. As the flight continued its journey to New York, passengers were left not only with a sense of joy, but also with a renewed sense of hope. This has been Joy Demanao, your global citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
Delivered a high-energy performance at the Coachella 2026 stage, but attention quickly turned to the absence of member Manon Bannerman. Meanwhile, Beanie has made history as the first Filipino act to perform at the Coachella, earning massive attention online and topping trending topics on X. Faith Agustin has the latest updates.
The group hit the stage following the release of their latest single, Pinky Up, continuing strong momentum from their recent comeback cycle. Their performance was met with strong crowd response as fans praised their stage presence and synchronized choreography. However, viewers noted that Mano Bannerman was not present during the set, sparking online speculation and discussion among fans. The absence came amid ongoing attention surrounding her hiatus status, with many questioning her future participation in group activities. Despite the concerns, the remaining members continue the performance seamlessly, maintaining the group's energetic presence on one of music's biggest festival stages. The nation's girl group, composed of Maloy, Aya, Colette, Joanna, Stacy, Mika, Gwen, and Sheena, took the stage on Saturday morning Philippine time and delivered a high-energy set. They performed fan-favorite hits including Salamin Salamin and Pantropico, along with their new track Blush, which was performed live for the very first time. The group's performance met with strong audience response, highlighting their growing international presence. Fans online praised the milestone, with many celebrating the group's achievement as a major step forward for P-pop on the global stage. Beanie's Coachella debut marks a historic moment for Filipino music, solidifying their status as one of the country's fastest rising global acts. This has been Faith Agustin, your citizen correspondent, bringing you the latest show buzz.
In sports, Gout delivered a stunning performance to win the national 200-meter title, clocking a world under-20 record of 19.67 seconds, faster than Usain Bolt ever run at the same age. Meanwhile, Rory McIlroy held his nerve to secure back-to-back Masters titles, claiming his sixth major championship with the one-shot victory at Augusta National Golf Club. Carlo De La Peña tells us more.
Competing at the Australian National Championships in Sydney, the 18-year-old produced a breakthrough run, officially dipping below the 20-second barrier for the first time in his career. His time eclipsed Bolt's 19.93-second mark set as a teenager in 2004, placing the young Australian ahead of the 8-time Olympic champion at the same stage of their careers. The performance also broke the previous world under-20 record of 19.69 seconds held by Ariane Knighton, further cementing Gout's rise as one of sprinting's brightest prospects. Fellow Australian Aidan Murphy also impressed, finishing second in 19.88 seconds as both runners went under 20 seconds in a historic race. Gout, who was born in Queensland to South Sudanese parents, described the achievement as a major breakthrough, saying it lifted a weight off his shoulders and confirmed his ability to compete at an elite level. He is now expected to skip the upcoming Commonwealth Games to focus on the World Under-20 Championships in Oregon, where he will aim to continue his rapid ascent to the global stage. Meanwhile, despite early setbacks in the final round, including a double bogey and a bogey in the opening holes, McIlroy responded with a surge of birdies to regain control of the tournament. The Northern Irishman finished with a 1 under par 71 for a 12 under total of 276, edging world number 1 Scottie Scheffler by a single stroke. With the win, McIlroy joined legends Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, and Nick Faldo as the only players to successfully defend the Masters title. He also completed a wire-to-wire triumph a year after ending a decade-long major drought and completing his career Grand Slam. A tense finish saw McIlroy recover from a wayward tee shot on the 18th, producing a clutch approach and steady finish to seal the victory. England's Justin Rose, Tyrrell Hatton, along with Americans Russell Henley and Cameron Young, shared third place. The emotional win was capped by celebrations with his family, marking another milestone in McIlroy's decorated career. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Carlo De La Peña bringing you the latest sports news.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the sun. road to excellence is paved with discipline and corrections. It is love language for the wise. And that's all for this edition of Newsline World. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Andrea Santos. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.